When it comes to growing and scaling your business, there's a ton of information out there. Today, we're going to talk about 5 definitive strategies to scale your business and to make it grow going forward. Hi, I'm Olivia Kirk.
I'm Tim Urich. We're from Tier 1 Capital, and we're here to show you how to regain control of your money.
When it comes to scaling your business, there's a delicate balance between that growth and making sure you have enough cash flow to sustain the operations of the business along the way.
There's no guarantee your business is going to be around 5, 10, 15, 20 years from today. But if you have a long-term mindset, that puts you in a position to weather the storms, if you will, that are going to come your way as a business owner.
Exactly. So a lot of times business owners are thinking day to day, which they have to. They have to be quick on their feet, making sure they're putting out all the fires so that their business could persevere through those storms. But it's important to also step back and look at things on a larger scale. How could I move my business forward this year and 5 years and 10 years? What steps need to be taken and what steps could I take today to make sure that's going to happen?
Yeah, we get sort of caught up in putting out the fires, and that becomes our job almost. But as a business owner, we also have to think, when we're putting out fires, we're working in the business. But we also have to work on the business, doing the long-range planning, making sure that our business is set up for the long term.
Yeah, especially as a business owner, you need to think about how you're going to monetize the business at the end of the road, right? What planning could be put in place today to put you in a position where you're able to monetize this business to fund your retirement, for example?
Yeah, so that, again, thinking long term, you have to think of all the plans that need to be in place. Your exit plan, your succession plan, maybe key person retention plan. These are all the long-term things that need to occur to make sure that your business is going to be around for the long term.
Right, because if we don't have the key people in place, the business isn't going to be worth as much. If we don't have the exit or succession planning in place, we're not going to be able to get as much out of the business as you put into it to sustain your lifestyle throughout your retirement. Which brings us to our second strategy, leveraging other people's money. How could we use other people's money to help our business grow, right? As a business owner, we don't necessarily have piles of cash set aside to grow the business. And if we do, it may not make most sense to invest that money back into the business immediately, because then you're giving up access to that money immediately.
Yeah, so making sure that you have access to capital to run your business and grow your business is paramount. But then how do we leverage other people's money so that we don't have all of our skin in the game? We need to have skin in the game, obviously. But the key is, how do we limit that so that we could leverage other people's money? And that's been, there have been books and movies and videos done on leveraging other people's money, but the key is doing it in a controlled fashion.
Yeah, and this kind of ties in with our third point, our third strategy of having that access to money, right? So we need to leverage other people's money, but we also need to have access to our own money, and they go really hand in hand, right? So the more access we have to our own money, the better terms we're going to be able to get to leverage other people's money, because at the end of the day, we'll have the cash on the side to pay that back if necessary, at least from their perspective.
Access to capital is what is going to allow you to run your business. Access to capital is what is going to allow you to grow your business. Too often we find businesses who have the only access they have to capital is through banks or finance companies. And that may not necessarily be a bad thing, but sometimes it can get out of control because you're not in control of the finance function. And we talk about it a lot on this channel, but when you're in control of the finance function, it's a better life, it's a different life. And again, there's no substitute for control.
At the end of the day, these two strategies of leveraging other people's money and having access to your own money is really what's going to build and allow you to build that business in a way that's going to feel best, because you're not going to be strapped. You're going to carry that debt, but you're also going to have the money on the side so that your net worth isn't negative $3 million.
That brings us to our fourth strategy, which is to extend amortization schedules. And by extending amortization schedules, that takes up less of our day-to-day or monthly cash flow, which allows us to have access to more of our own capital. And by doing it that way, we're literally leveraging other people's money in a way that's positive for us, because now we're in control. We're in control of more of our monthly cash flow.
Right. So you don't just wake up one day and have a pile of cash sitting on the side saying, oh, now I have access to money. It's taking those small steps, maybe like extending your amortization schedule so you're able to build up that pool of cash quickly or slowly, depending on what your business cash flow looks like. But the more you're able to extend those amortization schedules, and that's going to be determined by the bank, the more you're able to extend, the more you're going to be able to stash your cash on the side so that you're able to have it for emergencies and to take advantage of opportunities when they come up.
And let's take that to the next logical conclusion. So when you extend your amortization schedules, you free up more monthly cash flow that you could redirect to build your own pile of money. And eventually, maybe your pile of money, as you're paying down your bank loan and your pile of money is growing, when you get to a point where you have a lot more money than you owe, now you can pay off the bank loan, and now you can determine what the cash flow is to pay off that loan. That's where you could really get some significant results. And that, to me, is where it gets exciting for our clients.
All right. So as you build up that pool of cash, you're able to take on more of that external debt. And as you pay off that self-financed debt, right, the money you just paid off to the bank, as you take that on and repay that loan, you're building and rebuilding the money that you own and control. So it really changes the velocity of money from all of the money going outside of your control to entities that you don't have access to that money without permission, to now the velocity of that money is all flowing towards you, and you're able to take advantage of more and more opportunities because all of that cash flow and all of that cash is now in your control, which is a huge flip.
And that's a great point, because cash flow is financial energy. And the way the system is set up, all of that energy flows away from us. But if we could redirect it, and we do, back to you, now all that energy is flowing back to you, and it just starts building upon itself. Everything begets more, and now all of a sudden you're sitting on a pile of money. And oh, by the way, that could be your long-term exit.
Yeah. So think about this. As a business owner, whether it's a big business or a small business, how much of your money is going towards debt on a monthly basis? And what impact would that make to your financial position if all of that monthly cash flow was going to an entity where you had full liquidity, use, and control of that money, instead of all of that money going out the window? That'd be huge. That'd be a huge pile of money.
So if I'm hearing you properly, what you're saying is your amount of debt won't change, but what will change is who that debt cash flow is being directed towards. It's either going to be directed away from you or directed towards you, and that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah. I mean, if you're able to borrow $100,000 and pay it back at $10,000 a month to an entity where you have full liquidity, use, and control, that's a huge deal, right? Because now you're not borrowing $100,000 and giving $100,000 to the bank for access to whatever equipment you buy. Now you're borrowing $100,000 from your pool of money and paying it back. And as you pay it back, you're rebuilding your pool of money.
And the key is in the process, right? And we'll talk about the process. You know, if we get together, we can talk to you about the process on how that's literally leveraging other people's money to grow your money.
which is the perfect transition to our fifth and final strategy, which is keeping control of your cash flow. And this is exactly how you would do that, right? How you would practically put this into place. Build up that pool of money and then redirect those debt cash flows back to an entity that you own and control so that all of that monthly cash flow is staying within your circle of wealth. Right? So you're still able to achieve the same goals. You're still able to borrow the same amount of money. You still have the same amount of profits. We're not talking about making more sales or reducing overhead. We're simply talking about using that cash flow in the most efficient way possible so that you're in control of that finance function every step along the way so that you're feeling more financially secure and you're losing less sleep over these cash flow concerns associated with building your business.
Yeah, and we've talked about it many times. According to Intuit, 61% of small business owners struggle with chronic or cyclical cash flow. 69% of small business owners lose sleep or sleep less due to cash flow concerns. And now, instead of you being the 61%, you'll be the 39%. Instead of you being the 69% who's losing sleep, you'll be the 31% who's actually getting more sleep, because you're in control, and that's where we put our clients.
It all comes down to these strategies of how you're using your money, and that's what leads you to this feeling of financial freedom. All businesses could have the same amount of sales. They could all have the same amount of cash flow. What is going to differentiate you and your feeling of financial security is how you're putting those tools to work for you, your business, your family. If you'd like to learn more about how to put these strategies to work for your business and your family, be sure to visit our website at tier1capital.com to schedule your free strategy session today. We'll break down your specific finances, talk about how to put you back in control of that finance function so that you could sleep better at night, knowing that you're putting your business in the best possible position in order to succeed. If you'd like this video, be sure to check out these two. We picked them out special for you.
Thanks so much for watching our video. And remember, it's not how much money you make.
It's how much money you keep that really matters. We'll see you in the next one.